All right, we will call March 12th highway meeting order at 8:20. Roll call. We have everyone here. Public approval of minutes for the February 12th. Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February 12th.
Second. Any discussion, any corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. For highway?
We're to stand, sit, what's your druthers?
Whatever you want to do.
Sit, stay right there, yeah. Yeah, I'm Dave Williams. I'm the treasurer of the Friends of Potter's Field. We're the group that's been trying to take care of the cemetery for the last 14 or so years. We raised the money and put the fence around it with the help of the highway department. We would like to approach the State Historic Society about getting a state highway historic sign out along Highway 12. We would raise the money to do that and raise the money to put in a small parking area right in front of it. Our idea is right out by the Welcome to Menominee sign. But to do that, we'll need your permission or an easement to be able to put that on property. So I'm here to request that. And again, we would raise the money to do all of this, so no charge to the county. I welcome any questions you might have.
Okay, it's on the agenda, looks like. Correct. Sounds good.
So do you have any, and when's the last time like somebody's been buried out there?
1952.
So if somebody would die now and they didn't have no relatives, nothing going on, can they go out there or is it already filled up?
We got that question from the Eau Claire coroner, who apparently does stuff for Dunn County too.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what the law
Oh,
says or what happens. They obviously get buried somewhere else.
oh, maybe they're cremated, huh?
Nowadays.
Anything else? So it's on the agenda, so we're gonna discuss it later?
Yep.
Okay. I won't ask my question now then.
Nothing for me. On to Dustin, or whoever he's supposed to.
Yeah, so we did have a public comment that came through via email. So this was from Walt Rubin on Thursday, March 6th at 8:01 a.m. What can be done to improve fire prevention in roadside areas along county roadways? Does it make sense to move more mowing midsummer if entire road right of way is mowed in the fall to help grass stay in the green growing stage during the summer and fall? I asked my other farm in Sheboygan County yesterday about no spray of herbicides along my farm and got an immediate positive response to not spray in my area per my request. Signed Walt Rubin. That's public comment that we received.
That was more when we're doing spraying and
Yeah, that's regarding our herbicide spraying that we do in road right of ways.
which we are addressing too. Perfect. All right, on the staff reports.
Hand it over to Brent.
Currently, we've got a few crews still out brushing. We have, we're working on patching potholes and trying to stay ahead of that. We are also working on fixing some salt sheds. We had salt shed reports that came back. We're working on fixing those. As of yesterday, we finished up the last one. We only had two. We had a couple bridges we had to go out, put bird netting on before a certain date, and we got that done yesterday. So those are complete. We are on the interstate today fixing guardrail, which there's plenty of that.
Mm.
Even when we don't have snow, they decide to hit the guardrail. But yeah, the last storm knocked a few out. You know, just pretty much gearing up for spring, getting equipment back here. Dan's starting to bring that stuff in. We got all our chips hauled for our chip seal. We got that done before the road bans went on. I'm sure we will have a little more that comes in for townships and stuff like that when they decide to bid it out, get quotes from us. Oh, let's see. So we got going around out there. Say anything on that, Dustin?
I think that sums it up, what we're
Yeah,
doing daily operations.
Fixing shoulders that the plows have piles of gravel that either the township did or we did. We had guys out fixing intersections. Otherwise, yeah, we're staying busy and plenty to do. I hope we don't get any more snow. So we can move in and start putting culverts in on all these projects that we have. Do you guys have any questions?
Quick question. So who responsible for like that night that it snowed? I don't know if it was two snowfalls that go up with that stop sign on 25.
Us.
Okay, so somebody must have ran over there anyway and
Yep, I got a phone call like shortly and we had someone out there and put it up temporarily.
And those are the only signs that we need to get to right away. If it's a night arrow sign or any other curve sign,
Okay.
we deal with it on normal working time.
so is that something, I see that you want me to call you?
Yep.
'Cause, like I saw that and I was like, well, I'm assuming I came back a little while later and it was already up. So I was like, okay, so apparently somebody knew. So I was like, I was gonna call you and I'm like, well, I don't know if I should bother you or not.
You can, anytime you see a stop sign, you can call me and normally, you know, they'll call the sheriff's department and then they'll call the guy on call. But if I get a call, and I'm not on call at that point, I will get a hold of the guy and he'll either say, yeah, I already took that call or not. So, but yeah, that is the only sign we go out for immediately. Obviously, for obvious reasons.
Well, I assumed and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, anytime you see something like that, a stop sign, don't be afraid to call. Definitely need to get out for those. Any other questions? Okay.
thanks, man.
Like Brent said, we're bringing out some of the stuff that we had in storage down at the fairgrounds, the old highway shop. Brought a couple road patchers out to get them going. We're also getting the brooms out to sweep the roads. Doing that shortly. The truck that we're building in here in-house, Tony and Corey, they've been working on it real well. I estimate that it'll probably be done by the end of March. So maybe we'll get one snowstorm and we can try it out. Let's hope.
And we'll not, yeah,
Pardon? Let's hope that it'll work. Yeah, it'd be nice to start taking some of the wings off and stuff, which we probably will for a lot of them, because the wings, this time of year, the shoulder's soft and you end up with all the lime rock out in the ditch, you know? So, we did have a accident out on the interstate that our tilt trailer, one of our tilt trailer, was hit on the one side. And that was on the 25th of February. 24th? Okay. I had 25th wrote down, sorry about that. I wasn't here at that time, but, to my knowledge, I guess the guy kind of dozed off or whatever, and he went, and then the trailer actually hit our trailer, wasn't it?
Actually, a semi started to move over and it pushed him over.
Oh, okay.
Then he went over and he was right behind another semi. He moved over and tried to get back and just clipped the side of it. Thank God nobody was, it was
Yeah.
off. They were off on the shoulder. We were off the roadway probably by about off the roadway by about 6 feet. So good thing that it didn't go right over the top of the trailer and through the truck. So,
Yeah,
Were there guys in there?
no, guys were out brushing
Thank God.
way off the roadway.
yeah, we did get a cost estimate on the parts alone, and it was $1838 to repair it. We haven't done that yet. I would have to work with Patty on this for a bit now. So is that something that,
vehicle that hit it. They pay that through their insurance.
Pay the repair.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
They're going through that already with Patty and
Sure.
we've got everything and I'm just waiting for I'm actually gonna call State Patrol today and see if they've got that report done, sent out. So they've got everything documented. We filled out all the accident reports. Everything is good on that end, just gotta get a couple more things to their insurance.
And yeah, if we get to go ahead or whatever on these parts, but it's a couple wheels, fender, some lights. Not a whole lot. So we're probably pretty lucky.
Lucky, that's all it was, yes.
And we have reviewed this with our employees. If there's something we could have did differently to help eliminate this. So we are making some changes. Not saying if we would have did something different, it would have helped. We don't know, but
Or like, they put cones out or anything like that, or they just?
There were signs out and they had signs there. Could they have done better? Yes, we talked to them about it. I told them, you know, we are way off the road.
Yeah.
The DOT said we don't have to, but I said, let's get our trailers in the turnaround or somewhere off the road. Cause you never know. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, semis get pushed over and man, they had accidents out there. They have accidents out there when it's dry.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have stuff every day.
But they did have something up.
They did have signs up, yes.
I mean, it's like,
But, I mean, in an instance like that, yeah, it. Maybe if we had some more lighting, if we had a crash truck, but. You know, for what we were doing off the road,
yeah,
didn't feel like we needed to, but you know what, maybe we gotta do more. So,
well, it's not so much
Whatever
vehicle,
we
it's the guy, like guys get
Guys.
out, that's what I worry about, a guy gets out and gets.
half hour later, very
Me too, I'm not-
easily. Half hour later, very easily.
Yeah.
Our guys would have been out there putting the skid steer on the trailer, chaining it down.
Yeah.
So it happened at, you know, right around 3 o'clock, they'd have been chaining up at 3:30 to come back.
Getting that trailer doesn't bother me at all. I mean,
No,
really,
the guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can replace the equipment, but
And yes, you had it on a swivel, but boy, that was definitely an eye opener for those guys out there.
I've been in those situations, working on the road 6 years, and I've had very
Close calls, yes. Definitely an eye opener.
and as far as that, just kind of routine maintenance, we are working with, work order type.
software program.
Software program,
MP maintenance.
yeah, and be maintenance. We've got that for another few weeks or something.
Yeah, for another month.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, it sends it right to the guys, and then they can, go ahead and fix the stuff or go grab it. Otherwise, it's just doing routine maintenance. And Dustin and I was talking about yesterday on we've got 3 trucks right now. They're sitting in Eau Claire. 2 of them will get done by Universal. In May and June probably, or April, May. But that leaves 1 other truck. Sitting and, we were tossing around the possibility of us doing another one. Otherwise, those trucks we couldn't get in until, what was it, May of 2026, which is over a year.
So how long are you anticipating this taking to do that one that they're working on right now?
I really don't know. I have to go back and look. I think,
Basically,
You're talking when we started it?
yeah, just how long,
How many hours in
what I'm trying to figure out is, can we have it done by winter, is what by next winter.
oh, definitely.
Oh,
The biggest thing would be getting equipment. And I talked to Greg down at Universal yesterday. He's gonna get us a quote and ETA on that kind of equipment when it come in.
okay,
So it would all depend on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we pulled that truck in, December maybe? I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the difficult part is to try to keep the employees on the truck. I mean,
Yeah,
they
no,
might
it
be
is.
pulled off and doing some other work at times, so
Mhm.
But I mean, if you got all summer, yeah, I mean,
I would say about 4 months is what I would guess, start to finish.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that's keeping them on the best we can, so we can get it done. We got our 966 loaders over at maybe Cat, we got some trouble with the fuel system on it. They called yesterday and they're cleaning the DPF, I guess first to figure out what's going on. My information, it was black smoke or something like that going through it, so I don't know. But otherwise, everything is kind of normal repairs, you know. Nothing real serious. We do have 3 Terrastars that are down right now, which Brent would like to have them, I'm sure. And I want to do some more investigating on them because they're figuring, oh, it's 6,000 a truck for the parts, you know, and trying to decide if we should fix them or go another route.
those little flatbeds or what? Or-
Flatbeds
One
have been
little
out.
dump box.
Yeah, and I have it in my report is basically they have current value is about $2,500 a piece for these trucks.
Hmm.
And we have to $6,000 into it.
Mhm.
That's where
2,500?
we bought them on auction.
Yeah.
So they were used, so that's what the depreciated value is currently at about $2,500 to $2,800 for each one of these trucks.
So
So that's where Dan and I are discussing. It's like, do we invest money into it? Do we sell them? Do we do something?
Is it all the same part?
what's
It's all emissions.
emissions, all emission stuff? But otherwise, you're looking at what, 100 pounds to replace them?
Yeah, I would say right around that 70 to 80,000 a piece.
How many miles around?
Some of them don't have 100,000, but they get a lot of idle time too.
And that's what's killing it.
That's what kills all our stuff, is sitting there idle. You know, because the filters get,
I'd say if the ones that were on the patch wagons get the most idle time. They're all,
Sure.
they run
they're all
all,
patching and they're,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I suppose we can't,
and two of those are, two that were on patch wagon.
You know, and we use 3 alone just on the, you know, 2 on the patch wagons and 1 on the craft roll machine. So we've got 8 of them, but that leaves 5, but it doesn't take long. You know, we got 5 skid steers, so if you're,
Knock on wood, the patch wagon or
you
the
know,
craft co one is not one of them.
but if we get a new one, we're gonna have some issues if they're idling, right?
it sure could be. Yeah.
And then I'm guessing we can't delete them.
We get in trouble for that. Yeah, I sure wish you could too, but
Just.
And that's where we might have to explore maybe one with a gas vehicle instead of a diesel for emissions. I mean, if, it seems like anything diesel related now is an issue.
So is that something that has to be, because those are like, what size are they?
as far as the motor,
No, like chassis, are they,
it's like it's 19.5 GVW,
they're like a 550?
550 or maybe a little more. Yeah, they've got a 7-liter motor. I think it's a 6.4 liter. And so they've got really good power and they work really well. You know, they're lower to the ground, so when you get in and out of them, it's nice, and the view, you know, is really, I think they're a nice rig, but we can't keep them running, then, you know, we gotta do something different. So that's gonna be coming up here, big decision on those, so. That's about all I've got, I guess, if you guys have any questions about anything. If I missed anything.
And I guess I'll just add on to it. So we are exploring, so one of our graders has a grade control on it. So we only have one grader that's set up this way to blade our roads, when we're pulverizing and repaving them. So we are having issues with it. It's 16 years old. Obviously, that's outdated technology in that type of world. So we have gotten quotes to replace it. And you're looking at about $35,000 to replace it on the existing machine. Or we're exploring possibility of, Dan's gonna see if we can fix it. That's the first thing we're gonna try to do. If we can't, we're gonna have to bite the bullet and replace it. Cause otherwise the operator's running blind. So basically what it does is it adjusts your blade to get a crown in the road and whatnot, so. We are exploring maybe putting it on a different grader. And putting on a different grader actually had lesser cost than the one that it's currently on due to valving. Obsolete valves, basically is what we're getting told. So I would anticipate if we can't fix it, we're looking at probably that $20,000 to $35,000 range to replace this, on that particular grader or another grader, so.
I guess one more thing is, I don't know if you had that in yours to talk about, we did get our new crack fill machine in. I know we probably talked about it coming in the last time, we did get it in. The guy from Craftco, he did come through and he did do a walkthrough with pretty much majority of our guys and the guys that are on it every day. So we did put material in it yesterday, we ran it. Put 2 pallets of block in it and melted that, and so as long as weather permits, I'm gonna get out and start crack filling as soon as I can also, cause I do have a lot of projects to do for that. So that'll be nice to have that new machine. Yeah. Guys should love it.
And we are planning on building our skid steers here shortly too. But we can only get 4 this year instead of 5. But the one that we replaced that got burnt, you know, it's probably got the least amount of hours on it. We'll have to check it and see. And I think the mini excavator is up for rolling that out too. So I want to try to keep going with that. We've got that worked out.
Yeah. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm gonna head out.
Good, thanks, Brent.
Yeah, thank you.
Dan.
Yeah.
Watch. You heard some of ours will reach out at the problem.
They said they bought them used.
Yeah, they bought them used.
Oh, and you knew about the problems when you bought them, or?
No, we had them for.
Oh, okay, you had them.
We've got,
Like 5-6 years with
I'm
that.
gonna say, I think that was
Quite a while.
5 years ago. Remember we paid.
No, we didn't pay that much for them.
So do you buy used stuff like very often? Because it seems like like skid steer and everything else and cats and everything is bought brand new, but.
Some things you have to, just based on the sheer cost.
And then
It was
also,
just getting,
We didn't
Very
pay that
expensive.
much for those, I remember it, and
I think originally they were like right around
I was
17,000.
gonna say around 20. That big, so
down south,
we got like 3 of them for like 60,000 or under 60.
Yeah. That came out of Alabama or somewhere down in there.
And they're just 2-wheelers, right?
Just 2-wheel drives. Yeah.
International does not make the trucks anymore.
Yeah.
They no longer make these small 1-ton style trucks.
Well, they've got the 1,000 Allison transmission in them. You know, they're built heavy, they're built like a truck. Like I said, they got 19.5 GVW. And yeah, they quit building them. So that's kind of why we bought those other ones. But when they work, I mean, they're a real good truck. We'll have to figure out, what's the best plan. Because we need, a few of them.
They're nice to work with. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right. We'll just continue on with going into some engineering project updates. So our V project from I-94 to Packer Drive, So the reimbursement, that $1 million reimbursement we had allocated to that project, we did receive that from the state. So that's a good thing. County Road D project from 420th Street to K, that's that STP project. Haas Dunn was awarded that project. Looks like they're gonna start that project fairly soon to start cutting trees. Prior to the, I believe it's April 15th deadline, for bats and all kinds of stuff. So they're gonna get in there and start that work, just to do the brushing. And I think the actual project start will not be until probably May, is what they're kind of anticipating right now. So that road will be shut down and a detour implemented, once that project starts. County Road D and G project from 25 to 816. Still finalizing some things on the plans, regarding the storm sewer, and possible, drainage, changing some things with some drainage. We currently are working through the bridge, that wooden bridge, that Lambs Creek Bridge, just west of Jakes and Pioneer. The intent is to remove the sidewalk off of that and put an actual timber deck where you can drive on it to accommodate the widened road that's gonna be through there. So we, contracted with Wheeler Construction to do that, build. They are the only ones that manufacture timber bridge structures. So the railings have to be, MASH compliance, so that's basically safety. So if somebody hits it with a vehicle, they're not gonna go through it. So like I said, that's, we're currently working on that. They are anticipating 16 weeks before that can happen. So that puts us into July roughly, before we can actually start that work. Local, highway staff are gonna be the ones that are gonna be performing that work. I did have a meeting with Wheeler and showed us how to do it, via, what other counties have done. So I believe it's something our staff can completely do without hiring a contractor to come in and remove a 6-foot piece of, existing sidewalk and put a 6-foot piece of timber paneling on. So, this particular project, we have 18 parcels that we have to purchase, additional right of way for, to accommodate the widened road with curb and gutter, all that on that particular stretch. We have 5 out of the 18 parcels, completed, with an additional, we're anticipating about 4 or 5 other ones that are just getting their paperwork, submitted back to the, real estate agent. It is concerning. We have just say 9 other parcels that we're still waiting on. There's a few of them that are kind of requesting more money or, you know how the real estate process works. It's a process. I am concerned. The real estate agent said if we're looking at starting this project, this summer, we have 2 options. We either, start the process of doing, appraisals on the property and possibly look at condemnation. I don't want to go down that road. That's just, it doesn't sit well with individuals when you take their land. And like I said, that's something I've told the real estate agent we will not do. If worse comes to worst, that this project won't happen this summer. They are gonna keep pushing, like I said. Right now, we're not anticipating this project to take place until after July 4th, is currently what it's looking like. Just based on real estate. And like I've said, appraisals aren't cheap. I know there's, one parcel that we're looking at just doing a temporary limited easement, and we've offered a couple $100, and they want an appraisal, and an appraisal will be $3,000 at a minimum just to complete that. So we may look at offering more additional fund or money to these, parcels to see if that will compensate, instead of going down the appraisal, road.
How many feet approximately are you trying to get?
It varies. So a lot of it is TLE. So TLE is just a temporary limited easement. So we're looking at just what I want to say, borrow the land, to basically, match in slopes to the existing right of way. We compensate the landowner for that, and then it's still their land. That's what majority of it is. There is some. So 33 feet is what we have is what we have statutorily. We're looking at maybe 40, 45 in most areas. For additional right of way, and that's due to slopes or culvert lengthening or drainage and stuff like that. But we have tried to minimize the impacts as much as possible. But obviously there's some things you can't. So like I said, it's a work in progress. We're hopeful things improve. Otherwise, like I said, I do not want to go down the condemnation route because I am looking at trying to improve the next phase of this going north, from Tanner Town Hall north. And like I said, once you start taking land from individuals, they start talking and it just gets more complicated. So we don't want to do that. But like I said, we're hopeful. We're hopeful it's gonna come together and hopefully we can start this in July. But I just wanted you guys to be aware. If it doesn't happen, we'll have to address it. I guess, do we keep the funds and roll it over into next year? Late next year, or do we look at trying to move something up that was scheduled for 26 up into 25? Well, we'll have to look at that. But right now we're going into it that this project is gonna happen. It's just gonna be a little bit later than what we would like to start. So like I said, just wanted to mention that to you. Any questions before we go into the next topic?
Is there any part of the land that you're gonna have a temporary easement? You have to plant any trees back there or anything like that, or nothing, there's nothing involved there then?
No, so if we have to take trees, we compensate them for those trees.
Okay.
And we give them a value of basically what it would be to go to a nursery and buy a tree and plant.
Okay.
Not wood value of board feet of wood. No, we don't do that.
Okay.
It's just a replacement value.
Well, you think if most of these are just a temporary, why would it be a big and against them? I mean, because they're getting the land back anyhow.
I'm not saying they're against it.
Well,
It's
but they're
just,
gonna take
like I
the
said,
time.
it's a process and like everything, it's negotiable.
I'm guessing there's confusion about how the process works to make sure they get their land back, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Could be one of the issues.
I do agree. I think that's a potential.
You know, they look at it and go, really? You're gonna give it back to me after you do your thing on it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like I said, we're working through it. I think it'll come together. It's just takes time.
That's good.
And I guess we'll go into the seasonal weight restrictions. So obviously we implemented those on March 3rd. Approximately on average, it takes about 6 weeks from when we post them to when we remove them. That's typical. That's not to say it could be 8 weeks. We don't know. It could be less than that. But there has been some questions that have come to me. In particular, possible exemptions, what we allow for milk hauling. So basically what's exempt from seasonal weight restrictions is if, let's say somebody's septic is backed up, and a septic truck has to come in and pump it. So that's an exempt vehicle. Fuel oil, if somebody needs, fuel oil to heat their house, that's another exemption. Those are the only things that are exempt from seasonal weight restrictions per the state law.
fire trucks.
Yes, correct.
Emergency vehicle.
Emergency vehicles, all that, correct.
Mhm.
So it has brought a question is, I did receive a phone call that, State Patrol pulled over a milk truck on a banded road. And there's, obviously, we live in Wisconsin. So what we have done in the past in Dunn County, and I can't speak for other counties, is it's kind of looked the other way. We're an agricultural community, milk is, it's picked up at each farm every day. Do we allow an exemption? Do we not? Do we look the other way? Do we put a policy together on what's exempt, what's not? I guess what I'm looking at is guidance from you all to see what we should do. Like I said, currently, we do not allow exemptions unless it's considered an emergency situation. That is what, we don't have a written policy. It's just something that that's what we've done. I can't explain what roads are banned and what aren't. That's the roads, we try to eliminate road bans as much as we can. If a road's redone and if it's built, to withstand this, heavier traffic or 80,000-pound normal loads, then we will remove it. Like I said, it's a difficult process year after year. I can just explain some of what other counties do, is they do allow exemptions, for particular milk trucks or any type of truck. Let's say, a farm needs to bring in, feed for their cattle or something like that. They may allow an exemption. Dunn County has not.
What if, do any of them do like a weight category, so, you know? So the number's 80,000 right now, so anything under 80,000 is okay to go on the roads that are exempt?
So our weight restricted is, what we have in Dunn County is 5 ton per axle or a max gross weight of 50,000 pounds.
50,000.
Depending on your axle configuration. So typically to get 50,000 pounds, you have to have 5 axles.
Yeah.
So that is what is allowed on a seasonal weight restricted roadway, except for those exemptions. So
50,000 or less.
yes,
Okay.
so normally is 80,000, so we're reducing it to 50,000.
The axle.
What's a milk?
Depending on your axle.
Yeah, what's the milk truck? I don't know what it has in it that we're talking about that.
I would say on a good day, they're probably 80,000. That's on a good day, but
78,000.
I'd say they're,
and they, majority of them have like, what, probably 6 axles now? The steer axle.
Right,
I mean, that's probably the common milk truck.
right.
Chippewa County went through this process, 2 years ago. And it was a revolt over in, Chippewa County by restricting milk trucks. They do have a permit that they require each milk truck, hauler to fill out. From the number that I've been hearing is every year it just gets reduced. So first year, every milk truck hauler filled out a permit. Year 2, half as many. Year 3, half as many as that.
So they're just assuming that the one time, then they're gonna be let go, turn the other cheek or whatever.
Yeah.
Look
Like
the
I
other
said,
way. That's what I meant.
What we have done in Dunn County is, like I said, we've looked the other way.
Right.
We've not had them fill out a permit. When the deputy that pulled over the individual, the milk truck on one of our county roadways, he highly recommended we would have a permit.
Yeah.
Just for the ease of use for them to,
was that person, were they ticketed?
no, they were, warned.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me, the option for people to get a permit, I don't know what those weight numbers would be, I guess they're, you know, I don't know.
So if we.
I don't know if in this meeting we can come up with that number, you know, I mean, that seems like quite a process. You would have probably better options available to see what other counties do or whatever. But to me, a permit I'm assuming the permit's gonna cost them money, right? Or is it just a,
We don't have to. We could have no fee. We could
Right.
have $1,000 fee. We
Right.
could set that whatever we would want.
right?
Our current
I
fee
mean-
for
I
a
mean-
single trip permit that we allow, that's a single trip permit is a permit that we issue for over 80,000 pounds.
Right.
So it's over width, over height, over
Right.
weight.
That's a one-time permit.
Yes,
So
that's a one-time,
they buy the permit for
and we charge,
March 13th, and that's the day they have to travel and do their thing. and-
yes,
Okay,
and we charge $20 for that currently. And every county is different. So,
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
but I guess just what I will say is that exemptions is, this is just what I will say. And so you understand how I feel is, where do you draw the line with exemptions? That's my concern is milk trucks are one thing. Okay, now we got trucks that are hauling sap. That's another thing.
well, you got delivery trucks too, and there's businesses out along
Oh,
these
absolutely.
roads that are
And
closed, but they
that's not
can't.
perishable food that milk is either. That's a difference between delivering.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is that people, once you start exemptions for one thing or the next, then the
There's
next one,
always something else coming on
right?
in the future.
So
I'm
there,
not, I'm not saying to do it or not do it. I'm just-
so there are divisible loads and non-divisible loads. So obviously a divisible load is, you can't tear a backhoe apart to lessen the weight
Right,
type of thing.
right.
But you can take smaller loads in. So if you're hauling grain, instead of hauling 80,000 pounds, you can haul 50 and maybe 30 the next load. That's an option.
That's what they told me, like the milk haulers, is that we'll just try to like lessen the amount of weight on. Like you're rearranging the way they go out and
The-
pick up the milk, just to try to have less on there.
The milk hauling is getting, it's changing. The business is changing.
Mhm.
The small farms are going away, so
You got the
once,
big semis.
once they hook up to a bulk tank, they have to take all of it. They
Mhm.
can't stop. That's the issue. So a lot of these farms are very large now. So you might have 1,500 cattle, you might have 5,000. You know how it is. So,
Mhm.
milk hauling is like I said, I do believe that at some point in time, things may change, but currently that's not in state law. But I do believe some legislation is gonna come down the pipe sooner than later. That maybe they may be exempt from seasonal weight restrictions. I don't know, but currently they are not. So that's why I said I've been talking to Dan about this. It's like, so I would like to have some guidance from you guys if we wanted to come up with a policy on what we allow and what we don't.
Well, to me, there's a difference between an exemption and a permit option. Right? Or am I thinking wrong on this? To me, an exemption is, it's already in place or it's mandated, right? You know,
Yeah.
and some of them are locally mandated, like you mentioned with septic services and those kinds of things. And some are probably state mandated when you start talking about emergency vehicles and those kinds of things. That you can put a ban on, the state says on this road or whatever, but you have to allow this no matter what.
Correct.
And that's, to me, is an exemption. A permit is where they actually physically have to come in and say, we want to buy this permit to haul 80,000 pounds on this road and go through that process. So to me, a permit is, I get the dynamic of, well, if they see a milk trucks being allowed to travel up and down roads that are banned, okay, seasonally banned, why can't my delivery get to my business? And the option would be, well, it can if you go through the permit process or whatever.
Yep.
Is that right? Do I have
Agree.
that? Do I have that summed up in my
And
pea
by-
brain
Yep.
correctly?
And by statute, you are allowed to make exemptions for commodities. You would need to identify those commodities that you would do.
Yeah.
I think from a permit side, you can say we're going to allow permits, but where Dustin is he wants you to also, I'm speaking for you, to tell him where he should make those. Is it anybody who comes in for a permit gets a permit, or is there a line?
Right.
I think either way, it's about drawing that line
Right.
somewhere in a,
Yeah, and my answer to the question would be that a permit would be available to a business. Like some type of not just Mark Thomas can, I want a whole bunch of trees hauled in or something like that, you know what I mean? I mean, now I have to wait. That's just not an option. I have to wait till the bands are out for that.
Or like, but then you open up the can of, well, what about excavating? It's like, well, I need to get this job done, so it's like, we had,
But to me, that's,
as you said,
I don't know.
See, we get a lot of phone calls for hauling concrete. We're building a house right now. We need to get this foundation and now, I mean, this is our livelihood. And that's, like I said, that's a divisible load. Instead of taking 9 yards of concrete, they can take 4. Yes, it's not a benefit for them.
Yeah.
So that's why it's always such a fine line. And every county does it differently. And I just wish it was all uniform, but it doesn't work that way.
Well, I think as we continue to get the roads better and better, I think we can probably start exploring some of those. I mean, the condition some of the roads were in, you wouldn't dare, I mean, 50,000 was plenty to put on some of the roads that we have.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's certain roads that I think, and I know that's a lot more work to be like, well, this road, you can get permits on, this you can't. Maybe that's an option, depends on how much more of a pain in the.
Yeah,
that is, but
that to me would be something I would like to explore, you know, is that. Are there better roads, you know, like is B, just you pick one out. Is B at a status where it can handle 80,000 pounds and we can permit that road versus exempt it or whatever, you know what I mean?
like Denmark Dairy or whatever. It's like, well, we're on B, I mean, I'm guessing that's probably an issue, you know, I mean.
That one's not bad.
That's not
B's
banned, so it doesn't matter.
Not at all.
But, yeah.
B's not banned.
I just picked it up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
and there are a lot of roads that aren't banned, so I mean.
Right.
So I guess to eliminate a road band on a roadway, to build it, this is what, I've talked to some engineers about it, is typically 3.5 inches over 10 inches of base. The problem is we don't build our roads like that. We're trying to reduce our costs, but 3 inches over 8. That's the problem we're in, is we can build all summer long here, we're gonna be reconstructing some of these roads. Are they built to accommodate that? I would probably say no. We're gonna look at just paving them 3 inches over 8 or 6 inches of base.
So,
So that's the problem we're left with, is if we're gonna, to remove a lot of these, we're gonna have to put more cost into these roadways.
which in turn is gonna help them last longer.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
I can't say yes or no to that.
yeah, I mean, in theory, yes.
Every road has a
Theory, it
difference.
should, yes.
But you look at a lot of these roads, if you just take the main ones and say, hey, like maybe we can build these roads up a little bit. Cause there's a lot more traffic on those roads like to B, out there and that, and there's a lot of like to W. There's not as much traffic going on here, or something like that, maybe.
And what we're doing currently, and this is off topic, but, so if it has less than 1,000 cars a day, we're putting 3 inches of asphalt over. If it's over 1,000, we're doing 3.5 inches. And B in particular, that had 4.5 inches, because it has 500 cars a day. So every road is different.
Like D from Jake's to out to 25 there gets,
Yes. And we're
3
planning on
times
putting 4 inches of asphalt
Well, I would
to
guess,
accommodate that.
I would guess
Okay.
like right down the road here, E has gotta be pretty,
That'd be a road to work on,
yeah.
you know.
what is he at? What's that?
Are you east, south or north?
South ain't banned also.
South is banded, north is not.
Oh, North, I mean, so what is like, what was the build spec on that?
So that was 3 inches over 8, 9, 10 inches, somewhere around there.
And south is where there's a lot of businesses along through there, farms.
But then I've heard too that like your one car is equal to like your very, very few semis, you know, you get one car, might be maybe 10 semis or one semi.
It's like 18,000 to 1. 18,000
That much?
cars to
On each?
one semi.
Yeah.
One semi.
Weight, like what it does to the roadway.
How much damage it does.
So one semi is the equivalent of 18,000.
Well, I don't think he's such a problem with the few that would go on for the businesses. It's the people that would start traveling across it to bypass 1229 would be my concern, because I don't think just the businesses on there, if we open it up to them, I don't think that would be a problem. But I think there's gonna be a lot of semis cutting across there from Eau Claire because it's open instead of going with the scale and stuff like that.
In a perfect world, we ban all of them, or we would not have any bans. In a perfect world.
Correct.
Okay, well, what do you think in here? I don't know.
Like I said, I'm trying to get some guidance, and what you guys feel is. Do we give an exemption to milk hauling? Do we give an exemption to whatever? Do we require permits for all of it? Do we issue none of it? So,
I think milk can be classified differently than all those other things, so I think that's an easy thing to do, but, and I don't like permits for everything, everybody has to get a permit to turn around, I don't like that. That's my personal opinion. Businesses, a little different, it's a one-time deal in or out maybe, like, that I can see, but milk hauling, that's a daily thing. To get a permit for that, I think it's just
I agree.
that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Go from there.
so I guess what I'm hearing is we would allow an exemption for milk hauling. Not require a permit.
Yeah.
So they would, basically have legal loads, 80,000 pounds. And everything else, would not be permitted. Unless it's an emergency.
Right.
Is that what we're kind of including, or?
I'm not. Cause I mean, I think there should be options. If you're gonna allow a certain entity of business, then the other businesses should have the option to get their stuff in and out too.
What would you think if there was that exemption along with a permitting process that came through the committee? That's obviously a very slow process that they would have to be doing ahead of time, way ahead of the seasonal weight restrictions.
Yeah, and obviously this would not affect our current season. It would be 2026,
Right.
what we'd be looking at, trying to get something established.
That
I'd be in
interests me.
favor of that.
That
I'd be
interests
more in
me.
favor of that than.
I mean, so they got
To allow a permitting process.
Yes. Yes.
Put it on the agenda and then work.
Permits to be approved by.
And then it would be approved by the
If
committee,
we could
or
have-
would you say permitted by myself?
Yourself.
By you.
He doesn't want
He
that.
doesn't want that.
Well, what if we had a subcommittee within this committee that worked?
No, you can't.
You want
You're
it.
not allowed to have a subcommittee. of the
No,
committee
no, no,
against
no,
the board rules.
Can't do that.
I think if somebody wants to come in here and get an exemption from us and come in front of the board to get an exemption, I think we could probably look at that.
Is it like a one time or is that weekly or whatever to try and find out?
You're talking about a permit, not an exemption.
Yeah, permits, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we can open it up to some type of where my mind is, if we open it up to some type of process where other entities, okay, have the option to come in and get a permit,
And
then I wouldn't have a problem with exempting milk haulers. And I'm not trying, I mean, it's hard for me to say this because, you know, I want the milk haulers to do their job and stuff, but there's other businesses too that are expected to
Yeah,
It's just gonna open a can of worms. To me, it's just gonna open a can of worms where we're gonna have a lot of people in that are gonna, or not a lot, but other people that are gonna be. If they are, why can't I? You know, I have a business too, you know, and, or whatever, but. Just, I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong on that, but it's just kind of what my instincts are telling me that. And I do want the milk haulers to haul the milk, don't think I don't.
Yep.
But, so if we could do an exemption for them and then put a permit policy in place for 2026 where people can come to us and we go through them case by case or whatever, I'd be 100% behind allowing the exemption for milk haulers.
And I think if it came to the committee,
And for this year, I'd be in favor of exempting the milk haulers until we can put the policy in place. So I
So what I told the state patrol is we look past it currently. That is what we, so I guess.
Yeah.
If you see a milk hauler, don't pull them over,
Right.
is what state patrol has been told.
Yeah, I'm
And
100%.
that's based on our current practice. That's the,
Yeah.
like I said, nothing in writing.
I'm 100% in favor of offering the exemption or whatever you just said. Okay, look the other way or whatever to the milk haulers for this particular year and moving forward, I'd be in favor of exemptions for them as well, as long as we had another option available for other businesses to look at.
I would agree with you.
and I would say, I think the way that we would probably go about doing that is if somebody came in for a permit, you could also just say, you know what, let's just exempt that entire commodity,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So one person applying for a permit could
Right.
not even result in a permit, could result in
Right.
saying, oh yeah, that, you can do that too. So,
And I guess to add on to that, I don't know how you're feeling it about giving a permit for multiple loads. So there is companies that obviously continually haul in supplies to a certain individual or property. Are we looking at,
Daily or weekly or?
so some counties do offer a whole seasonal permit.
Are they still responsible for any damage they do though to
Yes.
those, even with a permit? So I mean, it's not like they're exempt from damage. Just asking.
I don't know, as you read it in the law, it does state that I believe they are liable.
But you even said at one time, when we had all that, sand mine going out, that the sand companies actually had to build the road up to standards, so they kind of took it by the horns there.
Well, they don't have to decide today on that.
No.
Yeah, like I said,
So I think we can get moving.
we just wanted some guidance so we can present something to you,
Yep.
like, as a
Correct.
policy, do we want to do this?
Yep.
And then we have something in writing that I can fall
I
back
guess
on.
I'd like to explore the opportunity about what we've discussed, put an exemption on, but have a permit program starting in 2026.
It'd be nice too to have the people maybe come
And I don't,
in here like once a year and just
well,
explain
that's exactly where I'm at.
what they wanna do.
We can to me, we can simplify this process if we say permits are available. I'm just gonna make dates up. February 10th through March 8th is the window you can come in and ask for a permit. Anything before or after that is
Just
no.
be aware, you could be overwhelmed with a lot of them.
I was just gonna say.
No, again, I'm only just
We
throwing
could have a
things
very
out there.
long list,
Yeah,
so. And I know a lot of times is, I will get a phone call today, I wanna haul tomorrow. That's what a lot of them I get.
Most of them are that way.
So that's a concern I do have that potentially could be an issue if we're meeting once a month or
Yeah,
prior
I guess-
to, or.
I guess I need more information and,
Yep.
on how the process works and what you go through and we got. Yeah,
And mind you, we're only getting the honest ones. So the ones that actually do call us and wanna get a permit, so
Sounds good. Okay,
more to come.
more to come on that, thanks.
trying to move, but, just wanted to give you an update on, highway construction budget. So there was a few changes in our budget, in particular county construction. So the County Road B Flayton Creek Bridge project, so that is a project up by Connorsville that, the bridge is getting replaced. So we had a set dollar amount that was allocated to this project. So this is a project that is gonna be outsourced. County is not doing. Originally, the project was 100% funded. The estimated cost versus what was actually funded for the bridge, the estimated cost came in over the allocated funds for this project with approximately about $140,000 more than what was allocated. So with that being said, the state is requiring us to pay that 20% portion of the difference. If that makes sense. So 20% of the 140,000. We have to pay. So that accounts to about $28,000 that we have to pay, which unfortunately was not budgeted. I did not budget it due to the fact that I thought it was gonna be 100%. So we do have to make some adjustments there. So I'm not asking for more money. What I'm saying is what we're looking at trying to do is to make some changes. Maybe we'll have the cost savings on whatever, a road. Maybe we allocated 600,000 and comes in at 550. So we'll have some cost savings there that we can utilize. I just wanted you to be aware of the situation that actually, I believe, got let yesterday. So I don't have that data in front of me. At the end of the day, that 28,000 could be 2,000 for all I know, that depending on what was bid. So like I said, we're not looking for additional funds. We're just looking at, we may have to do an adjustment. Let's say our county construction doesn't come in or with any cost savings. Maybe we have to do a budget adjustment from winter maintenance costs to add this $28,000 for winter maintenance county construction. That would be later in the year. But like I said, I do believe we're gonna have some cost savings with some of our projects. So that's the one thing. The second thing is when going through our long-term 5-year plan, I was looking at, obviously doing a continuation of our County Road D project, north of the Tainer Town Hall, all the way to where that high bridge is, that crosses the Hay River. That particular stretch of roadway has been, marked as a need for safety improvements. So in particular, like I said, I haven't provided the information to you yet with our grant that we got for that Safe Streets for All that we're doing with Eau Claire and St. Croix. But there's a safety plan that Dunn County has been given. It's not set in stone right yet. We're at the final stages. We're looking at end of March, early April here to finalize this document. That's when I will present that to you guys. But this is something that we're gonna have to look at going forward is what we're looking at is obviously making safety improvements to our roadways to limit the number of crashes, deaths, all that in Dunn County. So some of these roads where we're looking at just doing a grind and relay may not happen. Maybe we have to look at trying to improve safety, widen the roadway, clear some trees or whatever in the clear zone widths, add safety signs, all that stuff, rumble strips, whatever we gotta do. But that is kind of the initiative that we are taking going forward is we are going to have to get this grant. Basically, that was the initiative we had to do is we can apply for funds. So we have a basis now that says this road is got an issue. Well, now we actually have a basis to apply for federal dollars. Some of this we may not be able to. So like I said, what I was envisioning is trying to continue on with that next phase of County Road D. With that being said, I did not have it budgeted to start the design. What I'd be looking at trying to do is to outsource the design, in utilizing some of our cost savings potentially that we would have with, our county construction. It's typically a 2-year process to do this design. Year 1 to design and year 2 is usually finalizing the design and potential real estate. Similar to what we're experiencing here right now with, in front of Jake's and Pioneer with that phase. What that cost is, I don't know. I just wanted to bring this to your attention, see what your thoughts, if you guys had concerns before I proceed with it. The bridge thing is, like I said, that unfortunately, that's kind of set in stone. That either we pay 20% or the state retracts all the funds and we have to pay 100%. But the design, like I said, it's a 2-year process. I currently have that allocated in 2027 is what I'm looking at. Try to improve that roadway infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a busy road.
It is. I mean, there's 1,200 cars a day and it's always increasing. I mean, 10 years from now, it'll probably be 1,500 and 10 years after that, it could be 2,000. We don't know.
Yeah, I could see the safety issues on that road anyway with all.
There's a number of intersections that have very limited sight distance.
Yep.
Like I said, we would have to make some improvements with that. Cost wise, like I said, I don't know. I can tell you what the cost is just for the first phase of this D project was right around 130,000 to do the design, construction, engineering. So all that would not take place in year 1. So just say maybe split that in half. So I would just say round up to 150,000. So you got 75,000 this year and 75,000 next year. That's what I would envision. And obviously in 2026, I would budget that to accommodate that. But looking at in 2025, that is what I'm trying to look at, trying to do. Like I said, not asking for additional funds. We're not doing,
It's reallocated.
basically.
You say $100,000.
Yes, but I just want to be open and honest what I'm looking at trying to do. So all of a sudden that somebody asks, that I said,
So that road that goes from the Tanner Pond Hall up to the bridge, is the bridge part of that then, or is that 2080 or 80/20?
so the bridge project would be separated.
So it won't be done at the same time then, probably?
No, that is, I think, currently scheduled for 2028. Yes. I
Which
think
isn't
that's
that far
28.
away, you know?
Correct.
This will be
And
2027.
we have no idea what that's gonna involve.
Mm.
We have no idea. And like I said, the limits would be going up to that. That doesn't mean we couldn't stop.
Yeah.
300 feet short of it. So.
Is that ever filled in there right before the bridge? Cause there's like a big, you know, you kind of go down into the
Like
the rock there and has ever, or the woods kind of keep the snow from drifting in there that bad?
I don't know if we've ever have a problem with that. I don't know.
Okay.
Not that I've heard of. But like I said, I just wanted to mention that to you.
That's something, is this something we have to make a motion on or anything, or?
No.
No, like I said, there's no additional funds. I'm not asking for additional funds. If that was the case, then
I
yes,
didn't know.
it would come to that.
Yeah, I didn't know if it,
We're just
well,
reallocating.
if reallocating needed a motion or not.
No,
Oh, cool.
as long as it's not a budget request or a change,
Gotcha.
that's what.
It stays within construction.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
If it goes
Yeah.
like,
if it was an adjustment.
if it was from winter maintenance to construction or regular
Right.
maintenance to
Right.
construction, that's different.
Okay.
And that may come down the pipe later. If we see a cost savings here, like I said, if it pays for itself as we go. potentially.
That's good. All right.
So going on to the Potter Cemetery, like I said, Dave mentioned what the Friends of Potter Field are looking at trying to do. To add a state historical sign. I put in the packet kind of like a little rough sketch. So if you guys are familiar with what that used to be the old rest area,
Yeah,
just down the road here.
Yeah.
That is highway property. And obviously there's a welcome to Menominee sign that's currently there. we at the county have given the city of Menominee an easement to access our property to get to that sign. So we could basically either change the easement, to state that both parties would have access, like the Potters, Friends of Potter's Field, as well as, the city of Menominee, or we may look at adding a separate easement. That's something we can definitely do. I've talked to our county surveyor. Yes, it's definitely feasible. We would have to get court counsel involved, obviously, to come up with legal descriptions and all that. Cost wise, that's, with the highway department did help out a little bit, the previous with, the fencing and the entrance coming into the Potter Cemetery.
Some trees.
Yeah, so I guess that's totally up to you guys, what you would like to think about is if we would provide an easement, if we were to potentially look at helping out with adding a little gravel staging area, parking lot, or we say none of the above. I guess I'm looking for some guidance on your guys' end,
Yes.
if we want to start this process, or if we
I
tell
guess
the
I'm
Friends of Potter's Field, no.
I guess I'm in parking lot there, where the whole rest area was, you know.
There's nothing there. There's just a little basically 10-foot driveway going into to the gate.
Yeah, gate there, yeah. So how big a parking area where?
I think it says it's in 1 stall or 2 stall.
Just a couple cars.
I think that's what they say.
Pull in, turn around and drive out.
Just enough to turn around, basically.
Yeah,
Park and turn around.
Yeah,
I guess I'd like to see us move forward to providing an easement, and personally, I would like to see us install the little roadway turnaround parking, you know, kind of take that project on to help out.
I don't agree. Yeah, they spent a lot of money on that. Knock it off with this. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that much. No, it's gonna be pretty minor.
and that, like I said, that was not budgeted, obviously, in 2025. That might be another thing where might have to do a budget adjustment.
Yeah.
The odds are we won't have raised the money
In
for the sign
2025.
until next year anyway, so.
Okay.
It's about $3,000 just to the state for the sign. So we've got some work to do.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's something we could budget in 26.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
how
would
the
be.
county.
That would be okay, to
Oh,
budget it in 26.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. It'd be delightful. Appreciate it.
All right.
First thing I need to even apply is the easement question. If you're willing to grant that, then I can submit the application for the sign.
Yeah, we can work on that at any time.
This needs to be a motion.
No,
No.
Okay, thanks, man.
Can't be a motion, yeah.
I don't have it in that.
I need a motion for it.
Consideration for action, that needs motions.
Mark loves those.
That reports.
I do, especially for good things. Whichever,
Mark wants that motion. We're getting to it. We're getting.
So I got that guidance. Okay, that's good.
So what's this land like being used for?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Just a sign from Menominee.
Trees.
Trees.
That's pretty much it there.
It's the site of the old Lone Pine School, I understand. There's that one white pine still there, but that used to be a school site.
Didn't know that.
You learn something every day.
See? An historical sign might say something about that.
Probably would.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Thank you.
Yes, we'll move on to the county mowing and spraying operations. So I just want to set this in stone. In going forward on what we're gonna do. I know that I brought this up, I can't recall if this was late last year, but or in the spring of last year, I don't remember what it was. Sometime last year. Regarding kind of what we would like to do. So at that meeting, we kind of said that we would look at possibly spraying half the county and mowing half the county and flip-flopping it every other year.
Right.
So obviously, we do get phone calls from landowners that they don't want to have herbicide sprayed along their property. In particular, a lot of organic farmers. Now we're getting, individuals that do not want us to spray in front of their pine plantations. Due to fire hazards and all this. Which opens up kind of a can of worms for me is, okay, where do you draw the line? We could spray half the county and maybe half the residents don't want us to spray. And they come forward. So that's where I'm kind of going back to is, do we even continue spraying? It's getting to be so controversial is what I want to say. Yes, it is a reduced cost. We do reduce our mowing operation costs, and I've provided that in our packet. So if you're looking at apples to apples, in 2023, we sprayed 10 foot and we mowed 10 foot. And you can see it's about $100 a mile less, approximately, to spray versus mow. These costs do not include the maintenance and wear and tear of the equipment. And I can tell you, our tractors are in here every other day. We can mow, they'll be in the shop the next. We can mow, they're in the shop the next. When we spray for approximately 2 weeks. We can probably spray the whole county. We utilize a pickup truck, and we utilize a tandem axle truck that's got a tank on it. Usually very little cost associated with that. But I can tell you our mowing operations, this is not exactly true cost because I do not have the equipment repairs, maintenance included in that. Could we get that? Yes. It's just been included in this. I guess what I'm looking at is we broke it out into 4 options is what I was really like to say. Do we continue spraying the entire county system? Do we mow the entire county system and discontinue herbicide spraying? Or do we do half the county spray, half the county mow? Or do we look at spray the county 1 year, the whole entire county, or mow the next? Keep flip-flopping it back and forth. We have so many options.
So my question to you is how, for option 3, I mean, that's the way I'm leaning, but I'd like some input from you. How much of a pain in the hind end is it to do that? Like, break it up to where you mow half of it? I mean, is it a lot more work for you?
So
to do it that way?
I printed off a map, kind of what would be
Yep.
proposed.
Yep.
This is what we'd be looking at is theoretically kind of splitting the county in half or so. Trying to get the same miles and try to kind of even it out. I think it's like 18 miles difference or 8 miles, actually 8 miles difference. But this is not my concern. My concern is the controversial herbicide spraying and what do we do? Do we continue spraying? Do we start accommodating every landowner business that wants to not spray in their, we do not spray in residential frontages. I mean, we do not do that. If somebody's house, we do not spray there.
Well, just my thought is, if it was already mowed, would you be spraying it? Like if it was up kept, like somebody, let's say the farmer, like out on the Rust Prairie, they'll go out and I see them mowing it themselves. So that's all mowed. So you're probably not gonna go through and spray that.
We would still spray it.
Really?
We get out there and spray before they mow. So
Okay.
we are spraying in early May. As soon as the dandelions start coming up is the rule of thumb to start spraying. So it could be April, could be March, whenever that happens.
Okay.
So we're out before they're even mowing.
Yeah.
If we were to mow, it would be one time, like the state does, is June. And that's all they allow. They will not allow us to cut in the fall. That's on the state system. It's one and done.
Okay. Okay.
I guess I would lean towards that would be our practice, but obviously in the winter months or in the fall time of the year is not saying our guys are looking for work, but what is happening is obviously if we're not plowing snow in the fall time of the year or finishing our road projects, we're mowing
Well,
or
I,
pushing.
That's the advantage of spraying too. It's the least busy time of the year is
Yes,
May. I mean, it's not like.
and it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Mowing's not perfect.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna mow one time in June.
And the spray is, and it, obviously. Part of the spraying concept is the invasive,
Yes.
bad
So,
weeds, basically.
Yeah.
or
yeah, so
plants.
what we're spraying for is we spray for,
Stop the growth.
invasives. We put a growth inhibitor and brush killer. The brush killer, actually, from what we were told is we could probably cut that. That has typically residuals for like 3 to 5 years, is what they're saying. So we could cut our spraying costs in half with reducing or limiting that brush killer.
Well, if you brush control. Yeah, some other. Maybe once every 3 years or whatever. The second time you go to the north, you put the brush control back in the product. You know, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like year one might be cheaper than year
Yeah,
three. We're
yeah.
gonna put-
Year one, you just go growth inhibitor and drift control.
Yep.
And then year two, you do the same thing in the south part of this county. Then when you go back to that north part, you put the brush control back in since it's supposed to help for 3 to 5 years.
Correct.
That makes sense to me. I mean,
I'm more in favor of option 3.
For the alternate.
Like that expensive.
I would like to do, I would be in favor of that too, when
me too.
and try to see what our costs really are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cause I'm like, I really, obviously is riding motorcycle. I've spent a lot of time on county roads and not mowing it's hard to see deer. And I don't even ride at night hardly at all if I don't have to, but I mean. I think from a safety standpoint, we can't cut the mowing completely out.
no.
I don't think so either.
I mean, even just for vehicles in general, people be able to see deer a lot easier.
I just know that spraying this saves us some money.
Yep. No, I think,
Totally get rid of that yet,
I
but.
don't either because with the invasive and everything,
Yeah.
I don't wanna just mow. I agree that, I think we could spray something. We could limit that and kind of be able to mow and I like the idea of mowing twice a year. I hate that they
Yeah, I
only
just,
mow once because it's like, in the fall when the deer are really moving. The weeds are.
especially when you're mowing June, it's like, it's,
Correct.
yeah, it needs again and.
Yeah,
And I know
like I
that
said, we could mow every day throughout the entire year if we wanted to take that approach. We're just trying to reduce the cost. of
So,
spraying kids.
so I'm just gonna ask a question about the timing of mowing, cause to me. To me, the most sense would be to mow it after the 4th of July. When typically we have the potential the last few years, we have less moisture to help it grow. We're getting closer, we're gonna get more longevity of. Maybe it's only that much height difference, but that's the difference of most deer that you can see. You know what I'm saying? Get it closer to when the deer are really moving. They're not running around in June and July like they are in August and September.
So the whole schedule is based on the state and butterfly habitat and bee
Gotcha.
habitats. That's the
Gotcha.
reason why they
Gotcha.
wanna mow it in June,
Gotcha,
before all that kind of takes off.
gotcha.
Is
Got
the
it.
intent.
I was wondering,
And like I said, I see both sides.
And it's a tiny thing.
I guess-
It's a long time to mow. It's just, I mean, you can't just do it in 2 days.
Correct.
It's spread out. It's gonna get spread out.
Yes, it takes us about a month to get the whole county mode, at least one pass. So
That's just one pad.
that's all we do. We only do one pass, like a 10
And even
foot.
if we don't
I guess I'm
spray,
in
we only do
favor.
one.
We would only do like a 10-foot swath. Yeah, if we're going fence line to fence line,
No, I didn't say that.
Is it always
double
been
our
that way?
cost.
Has it always been that way, or?
Yes.
I thought they used to. Would take two passes, or maybe that's just state roads. I mean,
That's just Polk County, I don't know, doesn't play it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like you say, if you do see a deer on the side of the road, that 10 foot gives you a buffer. Trying to reduce the cost.
I agree.
Always remember that.
I know, I,
I'm in favor of option 3.
yeah, I am too. I am.
And then I guess, what do you think about, not spraying certain properties?
so we're 10 feet, you're saying 10 feet off the road, so we're not getting to the right of way, right?
So when we spray 22 feet. So we're spraying the entire road right away.
Right away.
But when we mow, we're only mowing 10. 10 of that, 10 to 12 foot is basically what we're doing.
So, I mean, could we reduce how wide we spray?
Absolutely.
I mean, to try and, I'm saying in all areas for two reasons. One, to try and, I know it doesn't cut the cost a lot, but cut the cost some. I mean, you have some less herbicides, plus to try and stay away from these people's either field, pines, whatever it is.
So last year, we sprayed full width, and that's that $209 a mile. When we sprayed 10 foot, it was 145-ish. I would say it was about $60.
2022, or you don't get the noxious weeds, you don't get the brush control. And so after about 3 years, you're gonna.
I know, the only reason, I'm fine with
I'm
that.
looking at, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm fine with that. I'm saying to try and keep people happy.
Yeah.
Don't want, and you can't be like, oh, from this section to this section.
So
I mean, that
the,
would be so hard on guys to try and remember.
the places that we do not spray, we don't spray at all.
Yeah.
If somebody does not want us to spray, 10 foot would even bother them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't matter if you do 5 feet or 20 feet, they're not going.
It's the herbicide in
So-
general.
Do they call you and then you just locate it on the map and just, when you're out spraying, you just
Put
bypass
some markers
it?
out there, stakes here to here. I see that in a lot of counties.
Currently, right now, we have, I would say, probably a half a dozen organic farmers that have requested it. But like I said, now we're getting individuals that have,
So you would not go up there and mow that then either.
oh, we would mow it.
Yeah,
You would mow it.
So you-
Organic just doesn't want the herbicides
But now
actually
you're-
in the plant.
But you gotta have somebody go all the way up there just to mow that little section for
Yeah.
a half mile along their property or 200 yards or whatever it is.
No, I guess if we're spraying that part, north half of the county, and they don't want us to spray, they get nothing. It would just grow up and,
That's what my
So
question.
then the next year it gets mowed.
yes.
So what he's wondering is like, for that year, there's grass growing right up to the edge of the road, which is kind of a safety issue. Which I don't. I'm a big fan of that, and I really don't wanna pay somebody to drive all the way up there with a mower and mow it.
And we have had people that say that they will mow the ditches.
And that's what I was wondering.
And I'm all for everybody mowing their own ditch,
Yeah.
every ditch along everybody's property.
Well, that's why I was asking about the spraying, if it was already mowed. If they wanted to take that initiative to go out and mow their ditches. Cause they're organic farmers and mow it and we won't spray it. If it's not mowed, then we're gonna spray it. That's why I was asking you about. Like along B and stuff, and you said they sprayed it anyways, but if they're keeping it mowed down. But yeah, like you say, then you said you spray before they would mow it, so.
But the whole thing too, is these organic farmers, they've gotta leave a strip in their field. So it's not that it's like 33 feet, cause they have to leave a strip in their field that's not being planted too. So it's not like it's just 33 feet, it might be 70 feet before it actually gets into their crops.
Yeah, the organic farmer is supposed to have the buffer between
Right.
their property, between the right of way and
Mhm.
in a perfect world.
Mhm.
I'm in favor of option 3, I guess.
Yeah. Try to accommodate this.
And spray everything.
You know.
Try to
How many
accommodate
bucks
people
a
that don't want to spray like this.
We're all in kind of in agreement.
Yeah, I guess So we're gonna spray 22 feet.
Yeah, we can spray whatever. We can spray 10, we can spray,
What if in those areas? You cut it to 10 feet.
They don't want any, that doesn't,
I get that, Randy, but there's gotta be a give and a take. Well, there does, but whatever. We can do whatever you guys want.
I would think if they don't want it mowed, they're gonna take care of it themselves for the most part.
Or just let it
I mean, if they
grow.
don't want. If it gets to be an issue, then we'll have to address that.
so we're gonna go forward as alternating mowing, spraying. And then be accommodating to if they do not want us to spray.
As much as possible.
In my opinion, that opens up a can of worms, but,
Yep.
um. Right there.
I can tell you on a highway level, it's a lot easier to spray everything. I can just tell you that.
I agree. I completely agree, because then it's gonna be like, well, he did spray that, but he didn't over there, and it's like,
Yeah,
that's
why I like my thing, but
for 10 feet.
yeah, if you know these areas, you can compromise with them and say, we're only gonna spray 10 feet instead of 22 feet along your organic farm. That's the best we can do for you, and next year we mow it. That's our policy, but
I don't know, but for. I think only spraying every other year is kind of a,
I think that, yeah, I do too, I agree. It's a great compromise.
I say we spray one year and mow the next, and I mean, that's gonna be, I can just see
You're
guys
saying
being like,
spray everything. Don't be accommodated.
well, I have a feeling what's gonna happen is guys are gonna be like, oh, I forgot that's that spot or whatever, and to try and, I mean, without having a sign up there saying, do not spray this area, how are the, I mean, you expect guys to try and remember every little spot from here, from Joel's place to Frank's place, we're not gonna spray, and it's like,
Yeah, we would have to come up with a map, and they would have to have a map in the driver's seat with them.
I guess,
There's technology for that.
Or like you, Randy said too,
Put GPS on
and put
everything.
flags out there.
and the other thing is, then we have a section, if they don't mow it, then we have a section that's unsafe, and it's like the rest of the county isn't, all of a sudden we got this spot where you come up on and say deer across in there, and it's like, well.
What have we done? Before, last year?
We have been accommodating to organic farmers if requested, and it's,
There's not that.
like I said, I would say it's probably a half a dozen areas in the entire county.
So my thought is,
And they're small parcels, they're not like miles.
I would say, I don't know how you do this, but basically say you're responsible for mowing that section if we do not spray it. If they mow it, it's gonna get sprayed.
I don't know if legally we can tell them to
Yeah.
mow the road right away.
Okay. Then I
I don't know if I
would,
want to go down.
And we can spray it.
then I would say spray it.
Yeah.
That's too,
They don't wanna spray it, there'll be lawsuits and everything else, will there?
No, on that property, or on the roadway.
Yeah, I don't know. how
You
that-
wanna accommodate on, weight limits, but you don't wanna accommodate on spraying. I don't know. I think you gotta accommodate on both, so.
Well, yeah,
you guys want me to make the decision?
Yep, there you go.
I'll support everything.
I guess I'd like to know more what you're thinking, Randy, about weight limits and spraying. I'm not-
Accommodate both that and just putting that out there, G.
I'm just saying that,
I'm just saying, we have accommodated them in the past. I don't, if it works, it works. If it doesn't
Yeah, I'm
happen, it
not-
doesn't happen.
I'm not saying
I don't
don't
think so.
accommodate them,
I don't think it's a big issue on that.
or we just spray less in those areas, or don't spray it at all. I'm cool with that.
Make a call.
We'll leave it up to you.
Yep, good enough.
God, you guys are
Half and half.
good.
What, half and half?
Okay, we're doing, option 3, which is the alternate mowing and spraying.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
I would strongly encourage them mowing. Put that way.
Yeah.
I know you can't require them, but if you could strongly encourage them. That would be. Helpful. Right.
Okay, and then, last but not least, we'll go into the financials. There's not much here for 2025. Since we just got January, I don't know if all January is even posted yet. January is all posted, okay. So in the county road and bridge fund, we spent $516,000 of county maintenance construction. That's on page 2. As you can see, county maintenance, which is brushing, most likely. And the overall 7,100 expense, kind of see that, 538,000 we spent. Oh, 674 so far, year to date. Like I said, more projections, we'll have better financials. Just be aware, we're always like a month behind. Joy, I and Dan have been talking about maybe giving you some different financials that comes out of our CHEMS report. CHEMS is our financial software that we provide financials to the state, so it'd be a lot easier to comprehend, see. It just gives more information than we would break down. Maintenance would be broke down as whatever, chip sealing, brushing. We would show you the budget, what has been allocated, what has been spent thus far. Give you a lot more better information, just say that.
And then break down the material costs and labor.
Yeah, it'd be labor, equipment, material costs, so you can see how much we're spending in each, bucket, if you wanna say.
Awesome. Yeah. Pretty good.
We'll try to hone that in, at our next meeting and see if we can come up with something that is cleaner, makes more sense, even for me.
Good.
It's that, just telling you.
That wraps up the staff report. Yep. Any other questions on the staff report? If not, consider the action highway vouchers. Dave?
A lot of them, like how many pages? Well, it's 2 pages, but really small print.
That's okay. Save paper. But need a motion on this one. So
Make the motion, up the vouchers.
Second.
motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any questions on anything? If not, all in favor of approving the vouchers as written?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 7B, 3.5 yard load specifications.
Yeah, so in your packet, what I presented is the specifications to, submit for a 3.5 yard, 35,000 pound operating weight loader. So this loader would be bigger than what was spec from previous, when we had, some issues with our bid tabs and what was specified previous, so we've adjusted it accordingly. Not a whole lot has changed. Like I said, we're requesting a 3.5 yard bucket. We have specified what coupler attachment we're looking for. We have eliminated some of the details of like breakout force and tipping weights. We're just requesting, the vendor to supply that information. Cause there's so many variations, and I will tell you, there is so many variations on each loader. I mean, you can add counterweights, you can put a different coupler on, you can put 15 different size buckets on it and change so many weights, and it's too much. So we're trying to reduce it a little bit. Like I said, not much has changed. I did change the warranty, looking at a 5-year full bumper to bumper warranty. Previously it was 3-year, emissions, warranty, and engine and transmission, all that stuff. But, looking at a full bumper to bumper, and like I said, a 35,000 pound machine, which would be the next size larger machine than what was quoted from previous. Any questions, concerns? We are not trading in loader, so that lessens some more complications.
Yep.
Right now, what I'm looking at is, like I say, to get these out, if approved, obviously, if there's no changes or anything like that, we would get this out, possibly yet today, maybe tomorrow, to everyone, and looking at a fairly quick turnaround, probably before our next April meeting, obviously, so looking at the first week in April as a deadline to get these proposals back.
Sounds good. Do you want a motion on this? Okay,
I'll make a motion to proceed with getting the specs sent out for our new loader purchase. Is that enough?
Yeah, I guess as presented.
As presented.
I'll second. Motion been made second. Any discussion on it? Anything you want changed on it? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. C, highway equipment sold list.
So yeah, in your packet, there's a long list of equipment that I'd like to, put on auction. Obviously, if we're gonna be looking at purchasing a new loader, a next size larger loader than what we currently have, I'd like to sell some of our loaders, so. On the list here, we have three loaders, so we'd be looking at obviously switching out our current loader here and putting that in one of our outlying shops. So that would eliminate one of those that's currently in the outline shop. We would sell that. These are the smaller, I don't remember what size they are, but they're considerably smaller machines. That number 2 loader is our largest loader. That was what we utilized for when we were doing crushing operations. Well, we're no longer doing that. It serves, in my opinion, no purpose than to collect dust. We do utilize it at times. If we're chip sealing, we will load trucks with that. I guess instead of taking 2 loads to fill a truck, maybe it takes 5. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I would beg to say the majority of the times, if you go on the job site, we have 5 trucks waiting in line anyway, so it's not like they need to be on the job site right now. Like I said, there's a lot of cost to have this equipment, to maintain it. We just can't continue having all this stuff sit around and maybe use 2 weeks out of the year. So that is my goal, is to try to eliminate some of that. We do have some old tractors that, obviously sit in our yard. Maybe we use them one time out of the year, but get rid of them is my philosophy. They cost us money. I did put on there, we were talking about those Terra Stars. I did put 2 of them on there. I've told Dan and Brent, we don't need 8 Terra Stars. We have 5 trailers, 5 skid steers. We can make other accommodations. We can put hitches on these single axle plow trucks. We can do something different. They do not have to be utilizing a 1-ton truck. We have other options. We have to start doing dual purpose with this equipment because it's so darn expensive. And the more you have, we have 8 1-tons.
Not terrible. How many
Terra Stars. And like I said, there's times where, yeah, we may have 5 skid steers out doing some work, and we might have a patch wagon, 2 patch wagons out that. We have other options. We can put hitches on these single axle plow trucks, tandem axle plow trucks, the pull skid steer, whole patch wagon, whatever we have to do. Summer months is a lot easier. Winter months is a little bit more difficult because we're obviously plowing with these trucks. Pretty hard to haul a trailer behind a plow truck that's got a sander sticking out the back. So that's where the issue lies. But in the summer, we have plenty of options. Looking at the possibility of whatever, downsizing, instead of purchasing 1-tons, maybe we look at 3,500 series gas trucks that are considerably cheaper. Emissions are a lot better, and they can pull skid steers and trailers.
Do it all the time.
We don't necessarily need to have a dump box on the back, because it's all it is stores junk, is what I've seen. I just, like I say, it's getting to a point where we can't afford to have all this equipment just sitting idle.
Yeah, it costs money.
I'm in favor.
It's us.
Get this out to, for sale, 100%, I'm with you. They can even add another Terra Star on there.
Yeah, and
Get some prices.
literally 156 is the other truck that is down currently. That literally happened, I want to say, like last week, Thursday. So it's like hot off the press. I didn't have time to put it on there, but I just want to see, are they fixable?
Do you want it on there? Oh, you want to see first?
See what they say.
I guess just because it's on this list, I'm not saying it's got to be sold exactly, but I want to make sure
They
that
leave that one off for now.
Okay,
I just want to make sure that we are.
see what they're,
Otherwise, you get 3 of the same truck. I mean, they're not gonna bring that great of money. I'm saying, right, if you get too many of them,
no, that's cool.
We get them.
well, we can always put it on later, I guess.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, we got the Craftco machine on there. We have a scissor lift that doesn't work. It nickel and dimes us. We have all kinds of stuff that, like I say,
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the auction list as presented. 2025 equipment auction list as presented to the committee.
and this will be going on Wisconsin Circle. So everybody's aware.
I'll second it.
Should have been made in second. Are the steel station shops just old ones that
But
basically?
yeah, they're like 15-year-old chainsaws that
All right,
can't keep running.
any,
But somebody will pay way too much for it.
exactly.
I know somebody that's.
I know somebody that needs some. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion passes. E. 2630, or,
No, the county road Y
I was gonna say,
deeds.
I must have filled out one. There you go, countywide one. D.
Okay, so, this, was presented to me, approximately by, I'd say about 3 weeks to a month. Regarding a very small little parcel down on County Road Y, south of town. This is just on the outskirts of the city. So there's a little triangle piece that's highlighted in red there, as you can see. So this little parcel is, the current landowner is willing to give that parcel to the highway department for right-of-way purposes. The current, that little parcel serves no purpose for the landowner, is what they're saying. It's that little triangle piece, like I said, that's in red.
Driveway.
Yeah, but all driveways come out of the road right away anyway,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
that's not a big deal. Like I said, I don't even know how many acres this is, but it's very minimal. And like I said, if we can have additional right of way, I'm all for it. If we don't have to pay anything, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And I know Eric is, here, who's doing the survey. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, I guess that's can ask Eric as well, so.
Is this a parcel all by itself?
Yeah, what's happened over the years, there's just been some kind of, I guess, for lack of better terms, sloppy surveying work. That never happens.
Never.
So what's happened is if you look on the parcels on the, certified survey map, that'd be the lot one.
Yep.
That, survey, that parcel was amongst, one of the, first surveys done in that area. And then on the west side of the road, there's been platted subdivision there and the menagerie of certified survey maps going to the south. So the reason why this cropped up is I've been contacted by the Alan Larson estate to survey off the what's shown as lot one on the certified survey map in your packet there. And what's happened is we've kind of discovered that the right of way on the west side of the road does not match up with the right of way on the east side of the road. And as a result of that, we have that red area which forms a gap. So essentially what we're trying to do is come up with the best solution here. Some of the solutions that we've discussed were to, initially was, well, why don't we just give that red area to the owner of proposed lot one? Well, if we do that, then we prevent, legal access for the lot one certified survey map, what's that?
Just to the north of that.
Just to the north of that port. So we would basically, form what's legally called a spite strip, which prevents them from using, gaining access to County Highway Y. So that's kind of why we kind of put it in your lap saying, well, this would solve everybody's problems and, and kind of, put this thing to rest rather than kicking the can down the road, for somebody else to deal with in the future.
And I did talk to Tom Carlson about it, the county surveyor, as well as Corp Council. They saw no issue with it. So.
Good.
Yeah, there would be a quick claim deed that would be transferred to the county.
Yeah, that'd be something that, the, staff at, Wisconsin Title would prepare, and then I believe it'd be the odds and Bedwoods would be the landowners that would quit claim it over to the county.
You then right now, this land belongs to nobody?
Well, it belongs to the odds and Ben roads, so we're lucky, we're in the situation where these the original landowners that, had this parcel are still alive. If it wasn't, that wasn't the case, then you're looking at getting their heirs or, doing what's referred to as a quiet title lawsuit, which now, you bring attorneys into it and it's, has to be advertised, and I guess it is somewhat a blessing or luck that they're alive, one, and two, willing to work with us here and do it for nothing. So
Yeah.
I guess that's, in my opinion, that's about as good a situation as you can.
Exactly.
Motion, I'll make a motion that we accept the transfer of this.
And I'll second the motion.
Motion made second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 2026 to 2030, 5-year road improvement plan.
Yeah, this is, what I presented to you is a 5-year plan, but
Subject to change.
I always say it's a 1 or 2-year plan theoretically, but, I guess the biggest thing that I wanted you to take from it is what I've been trying to do, obviously, this past year is to try to get us more miles of roads done. And I've spoken to, obviously, the county board is, we have 425 miles of road, 20-year lifespan of a roadway typically, so we'd have to do about 25 miles of road theoretically each year to try to keep up with that. So I'm trying my best to try to get around that. The unfortunate thing is, obviously, you can see the cost. You're looking at right around that $7 million to do right around there. Every year is gonna be different. Some years you might have a project that might cost a little bit more than the other ones, so you might, whatever, get 16 miles of road instead of 20. I'm trying to stay around that 7 million, just due to our current levy is allocated right around that 4 million, and obviously we borrowed 3 million. I'm not saying we want to continue doing that, but I'm just saying,
If we can.
if it's possible, this is what we would need to do to try to keep up. These costs, budget estimate costs they're approximate, they're not exact. Like I said, I've tried to work on it. The one thing you will see that I've tried to do is I've tried to allocate engineering costs into it to try to start looking at some of these projects, to increase the safety, productivity of it. Like I said, the County Road Y is a prime example, just south of Menominee. Obviously, that's a very heavily traveled road. It would be great to have a widened shoulder, all this storm sewer, maybe, I don't know, improvements. So those type of things, it needs to be designed and engineered. So you always gotta think ahead. So that's what I'm looking at trying to do. Some of these projects could get state funding, could get federal funding, it could get no funding. You just, like I said, it's thrown out there. As you can see, what I've tried to do is over the next 5 years, we're trying to complete the roads that are considered a 5, 6 or less, in particular condition state 3. So these are pacer ratings. So pacer ratings, the lower number, the worst condition. As you can see, we're trying to get rid of all those yellows and reds. So that's the roads that I have planned kind of in the next 5 years at the best we can.
So 94 is extremely poor.
No, that's just unfortunate. The color that comes across them.
I figured they just label it.
Only look at the county roads.
I think they are doing work all this summer, I think.
That's actually in really good condition compared to some of our roads. So,
No, I know.
yes, they are. But yeah, like I said, some of this stuff, like I want to obviously continue the section of County Road B from double B to 40. That's something we got to do sooner than later before it disintegrates.
Yeah.
So if we can do it sooner at a lesser cost than later at more cost, that's
Some of that's getting bad.
my one concern though is obviously these blues are going to turn to yellows.
Yeah.
And we're trying to concentrate with the yellow. And some blue.
So, I mean, you would have some numbers off the top of your head what it costs to per mile to redo a road as far as either whether it's an overlay or if you gotta completely redo it or what? What are,
Overlay is about 150,000 a mile, depending on the width and depth. A standard pulverize and repave, you're looking at about 250 to 300, depending on the width. Yes, per mile. And then, rehab, which is shoulder widening, adding some bays, doing like what we did on County Road Z. Last year would be a rehab. You're looking at right around that 400,000 a mile to do that. And then a complete reconstruct, you're looking at 500,000 plus, depending on what it is.
Okay, so my other question is, if you were going to, obviously on an overlay or pulverize and repave, you're not gonna be able to build a base up, but if you're doing a rebuild and you're normally doing that 8 inch with 3 over, how much more is it gonna cost to do on those roads that we're already sticking that much into? What would it cost to put another 2 inches in there and a 1/2 inch more of pavement?
Because I don't have that exact number, but couple 100,000 more to do that total project.
25% probably, huh?
Yeah, if I had to guess. I don't know the exact number, but, and that would be contingent upon the width of the road, how much, it would all change.
Well, what I'm getting at is on those projects that we have to do that, is there any way we could beef those up a little bit? Obviously, if we're overlaying, you're not gonna be able to, but get some of these roads. Absolutely. I think you're doing the right thing and getting, we're headed in the direction we need to. It's just, if we could do that, so then it's like, well, okay, this road doesn't need to be banded. We can open up some of these roads. Obviously, we can't do that on all of them, and I understand that. I'm just, if we can head that way on the restruct. I mean, if it's astronomical, no, but I mean, most of the cost is tearing the park stuff. I mean, it's literally the cost of putting 2 more inches. I mean, yeah, most of the labor is, it's just the material that we're gonna have to pay a little more for.
Correct.
So if I'm more in favor of building it up, and maybe it only lasts 2 or 3 more years, but if we can allow people to travel on it. Unbanded.
Yeah, it depends on the road, I think. I mean, it depends on where you're at.
Correct.
I mean, you get up in some places.
Yeah, like I said, typically rule of thumb, what we're trying to do is 1,000 cars a day or less is this thickness of asphalt. Over that is this thickness of asphalt to accommodate, and then,
Yep,
depending on,
I'm mostly talking about the borderline ones where it's like, okay, we're close, let's take that little extra and beef that up.
and we have started doing that. I mean, last year, we County Road H south of Rock Fall, we put 3.5 inches of asphalt instead of 3. Due to the percentage of truck traffic on it. I think it had like 17% truck traffic. So we beefed it up a little bit due to that. They still believe we have that road banded. But like I said,
And yeah, and just, the E where you're like, oh, that's 3 and whatever, and it's like, well. And that gets a fair amount of truck traffic, and I'm like, it'd be nice to have that a little bigger. I'm not talking about W nor the old backs and stuff like that.
I mean, there's, yeah,
Absolutely not. I just,
that's what I mean. There's some roads that,
in those ones, you're probably not gonna have to worry about that. Don't take this the wrong way, but like the safety things and maybe regrading that and everything where like Jake's to 25 and even up to Elk Point and stuff like that, there's some intersections that definitely need to be. Yeah, and I already see they did cut a bunch of trees down on that main corner where G goes off. You know, so, I mean, to improve the site at that stop sign, which I would assume, maybe that's not why they cut them, but anyways, stuff like that, yeah, I would definitely agree with the safety and stuff, and mostly just put my 2 cents in that I would be in favor of beefing them up where it makes sense and it's fairly cost effective.
yeah, and I know everything's getting bigger.
Yeah.
So there's no standard single axle or the dump truck that years ago, now it's quad axles and it's only gonna get bigger than that.
Correct.
we need to approve this motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Dunn County 5-year improvement plan as it pertains to, road work, also road construction.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Nothing for 8. Any other thing? Any other questions? If not, next meeting is April 9th. Same place, same time, meeting adjourned.
So you had on, county government